I think this generation is acting as the moral compass of their societies. They're outraged at the level of hypocrisy. They have been raised to believe that their governments believe in human rights, believe in international law, believe in the sanctity of humans. And they've discovered that this is only related to the color of the skin of the victims. And the outrage that this generation is having is at this hypocrisy and this racism, where a few years before these governments were talking about the Ukraine and the rights of the Ukrainians, and suddenly when it came to Palestinian Muslims, these governments were colluding with the genocide. It is an attempt by these governments to silence the student movement. As we saw in Columbia University, where a lot of the movement started, it has the exact opposite effect. It activates the student, it mobilizes the students, and it makes them more determined to be the voice of their societies. I think, like everything else that Europe and the European governments believed in, they have shown themselves to be hypocrites in terms of freedom of speech. You can talk about anything other than Palestine. You can criticize anyone except Israel. And that hypocrisy is one of the reasons why the student movement is happening, why people are coming out on the street. But the repression attempt at silencing people is pervasive everywhere in Europe. The elections in Glasgow were important because Glasgow University in the 1800s, the rector was Balfour, Lord Balfour of the Balfour Declaration. And so it was important for the student movement that they elect a Palestinian who's a graduate of Glasgow University as a message. What we didn't expect is for this overwhelming vote. And it shows how much these societies have changed in terms of the way they see Palestine and how strong the student movement is if it's ever given a chance and not oppressed. It's a world that's divided between people who are extremely outraged by the viciousness of the Israeli genocide and governments that are trying to silence the Palestinians and are colluding with the genocide to destroy Palestine. There's a complete opposite reaction between the citizens who are coming out in the streets in their tens and hundreds of thousands and the governments that are colluding with the genocide. You know, they've increased weapons supply to Israel 10 times, they've supported Israel, they've ensured that the genocide can continue for 8 months. Whereas citizens are coming out in support of Palestine all the time. I've been surprised how supportive people are. People come up to me in the street to tell me that their support of the people in Gaza, of the Palestinians. British citizens are outraged. You know, at the end of the day, people's humanity has been affected by this genocide. They are parents, they see what's happening to Palestinian children, to Palestinian parents, Palestinian family. And just from a barely basic human reaction, they are outraged by this genocide.